So I did finally watch the special episode. I just did a podcast that was just talking about my thoughts about the double's original finale and why I waited so long to watch it because the show finished airing weeks ago. And I just talked about how much that finale episode kind of left things feeling a little unfinished, kind of on a cliffhanger. And I just wanted more from the two leads. I wanted more Ali and Duksu. And then the special episode I definitely learned about, and I said, yes, I'm going to watch it. I've watched it, and I have thoughts. So mainly this podcast is going to be talking about, did I think the special episode was satisfactory of a conclusion for the beautiful, gothic, gorgeous, filled with chemistry, The Double? Hi, I'm Monique. I am the host of Off by Purple Heart podcast, where I talk to you about K-dramas, C-dramas, BTS, and so much more. The Double, the special episode, I originally was under the impression that this was going to be 10 minutes, which I was already thinking was short. Come to find that the special episode was 5 minutes. Now, I have learned since that the special episode was kind of made in response to a lot of the audience feedback. So I'm guessing a lot of the audience felt like me. We kind of prefer some cheese with our crackers. You know what I'm trying to say? We prefer to have a little bit more of the romance and not the somewhat ambiguous ending that we were left off with. So this was kind of filmed after the fact, just as like a special thank you and to kind of satisfy the hunger of the viewers that wanted more. I love The Double. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm not going to pretend like I didn't even enjoy the 5 minutes that we did get of extra footage or of extra material. I love these two actors together. I genuinely hope that they get to work together again. I hope that they had a great time with each other. And from what I've seen, some behind the scenes clips, they've done a few variety shows, I think, together, and they have just the same crackling fire intensity chemistry even outside of their roles. So if they could play like high-powered attorneys that face off against each other and it's like ripe with sexual tension all the way through, I'd be here for it. I'd be here for another modern day drama with the CEO and the journalist, and they clash heads, and the journalist is trying to do like a deep dive expose, and they get to play around with their chemistry. Battling of companies, I don't give a good goddamn. I would be even happy for them to do another period drama, another costume drama. Their chemistry is bankable. Like, they got the goods, man. They got the good stuff. And yeah, I'm a little bit here for the Nuna romance type vibes. So yeah, I enjoyed the 5 minutes. But damn, we got like one kiss. It's nice to see that in the special episode, and this is going into a little bit of spoilers, but I'm going to assume that you've watched, or if you've watched the majority of the show, and you know what was going to happen towards the end. We did get to see that they end up having a daughter together as well. But damn, those 5 minutes were short. Like, it's really short, and I'm unfortunately still not entirely satisfied, to be honest. I wanted more. I love their dynamic so much. I think their chemistry is so much fun. I've mentioned this in my previous podcast about The Double. That dancing scene in the rain when Ali was just drunk and full of abandon, and she's twirling around with Duksu in the rain, and he's just looking at her with all the admiration and joy in his face. Like, that's like top tier. One of the reasons why this show is like my favorite from 2024. I've watched quite a bit of C-dramas this year, which I've cataloged quite a bit, and it's right up there. It provided me with so much entertainment value. I love the more dark side of the show. I enjoyed the portrayal of a lot of the principal cast. I think even the evil princess, as much as her character was detestable, she also was victim to circumstance as well. And while she did a lot of evil and unnecessary things, a lot of the messaging of the show was just how much women were oppressed and just how much disaster and tyranny that men brought into these women's lives. Even the most evil of evil characters within the show, I feel like the show was really sympathetic towards women as a whole. And I felt for so many of the characters, and even the men, and even like the worst of the worst, like Ali's husband or ex-husband, and the portrayal that actor gave. Like, that performances were just top notch. The show has so much beautiful imagery. The costuming was gorgeous. The scoring, I talked about this in my last podcast as well. The scoring was just top notch. I love the scoring throughout the show. The music, just phenomenal stuff. And the chemistry, the chemistry of the two leads is just everything to me. It was just a 10 out of 10 fun ride for me. I don't care if you want to critique the writing in certain spots. I don't care if you want to critique some of the CGI or FX that was used that sometimes seemed a little bit out of place, but narratively I understood what they were trying to convey. I just think overall it was just a big showstopper production piece, and I can see why it was so popular and still is so popular. And it hasn't been out for that long, and I just assume with it now being added to Netflix catalog, it'll continue to grow in popularity. It's just a good show, you know what I mean? It's just a fun, charismatic ride. But I was left a little unsatisfied, desiring more from episode 40, and unfortunately episode 40.5, the special episode, while I appreciate that it was done in efforts to kind of appease those that want a little bit more and be given like an actual proper conclusion and epilogue to this very beautiful romance, I just wanted more. So this podcast is kind of like a plea and maybe a little bit of manifestation that I hope we get more from these two going forward, and that they can do another drama together, because it just is so good. I love their dynamic so much. I love that they were so equally matched in intelligence and wit, along with, you know, their face cards, because both actors are beautiful. Like, let's not play games here. Like, for real, they're both stunning to look at, and the whole show was just a vibe. And their chemistry and the fact that they had such an adult relationship, and there was coyness and there was this coquettish type teasing, but they had really adult, frank conversations with one another. They had all this political machination that they were able to bring up together, and both characters had their own agency and their own storylines as well, and they both served their functions within the overall arcing story. Like, I love that. They both had their missions. They both had their backstory of grief and trauma, and how they were able to intersect with one another. It just equally matched. I love that both leads just were equally matched every step of the way. And I just wanted more. That's it. And an aside as well, it would have been nice to have like a little memoriam in this special episode for like the bodyguards of Duke Su as well. I really found the bodyguards, his sidekicks were really funny and they were charming, but they were also very competent military strategists. They were also warriors as well. And seeing how they both died on screen, and that it obviously it devastated Duke Su, but we didn't really get much of a follow-up afterwards with that, and to me that really saddened me. I would have loved a little bit more of a memoriam, a little bit more highlight about how much those two had affected Duke Su, you know, but there's only so much you can do, right? If you're doing a special episode, that's just to highlight the romance of the main leads, because there wasn't really that much of a romantic conclusion in the last episode. I mean, they had their declarations of love, but so much of that episode was focused on the final big battle that ended up being very bloody and very gruesome, that there wasn't really a lot of time to delve into that. And tonally, it probably wouldn't have made a lot of sense. But, you know, I guess the whole thing is just, I just wanted more, damn it. I wanted more. But the double was a great ride. God, I hope for the remainder of this year there is something else that will come along and match just how much fun I had with that show. And there have been some suggestions of other costume period dramas that are very highly rated as well. But, you know, I guess I operate under recency bias as well. So I just want something coming out nice and hot while it's airing and being able to like submerge myself in the story and have everyone kind of having passionate online discourse and discussions about it as it's airing, you know, that kind of feel. But that's going to conclude today's podcast about The Double. If you have not watched it yet and somehow stumbled across this podcast, go watch it. It is just magnificent fun. As I'm aware right now, it's on Netflix. I don't really promote any one particular streaming platform. I just tell you where I know the stuff is, and if you happen to have Netflix, great. If not, there are always other means, but I highly recommend if you get an opportunity to watch The Double. It is great fun. I really enjoyed my time. If you're watching this via YouTube, what did you think of the special episode of The Double? If you watched it, do you think it was satisfactory enough, or they could have dwelled a little bit more? Understanding though, I know budgets and actors' time and availability, it takes a lot to even film one episode, the amount of time and resource that it takes. So to come back and do a special because the audience loved the show so much and just wanted more, I understand that it's a great feat in itself to get actors back to do stuff. But did you think it was satisfactory, or are you like me where you still had a little bit more of a thirst for more? If you're listening to this podcast via Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I love you and I appreciate you so much. You guys are you're the true writers for me. I appreciate you so much. Until the next episode. Bye.